Hi, I'm Dan Costa, Editor-in-Chief of PCMag.com, and welcome to Fast Forward, where we have conversations about living in the future. This is a South by Southwest edition of Fast Forward, and my very special guest today is Garry Kasparov. Garry is a world-class chess champion who famously dueled Deep Blue in the 90s, and since then he's become a leading expert on AI, on human rights, and how technology is being used both for good and for evil across the globe. Garry, thanks so much for talking to me today.
Thanks for inviting me.
So, after going through your chess career and battling Deep Blue, you've since then become a chess AI expert of sorts. How do you want people to understand AI? How would you define AI? Because it's a very big bucket.
I have to confess that I know the limits of my ignorance, so that's why I'm happy to talk about things where I'm confident about my own expertise, and I think I have certain knowledge of human-machine relations, and I could speak with some authority about our the future outcomes, and also I believe that we're still at a very early age of AI, and we should debate even some terms. It's about semantics, it's about philosophy, and I always say that people think we are at Windows 10 era while we're still at early MS-DOS. And at this moment it's very important to actually understand, it's this, what is AI? When we say AI, what do we mean? Because if you ask 10 experts about AI, I bet you'll get 11 or 12 answers. So there's still quite a disagreement, and I was pleasantly surprised that just here today at South by Southwest at Sony booth. I talked to Professor Kitano and Professor Stone, and there was a lot of agreement. So there's still details, but I think in general, we recognize, again, there's a group of people who you call optimists, facing the big crowd of doomsayers, and somehow public is more willing to accept the doomsaying scenario. I think it's our instinctive fear of the future, which is also interesting, because when you go back to 50s and 60s, the sci-fi was very optimistic. It was all about us, just working with machines, and by the way, people thought that the robots, they will be good at physical movements, not so much about mind. Actually, we could see this, that the effect was reversed. But the main idea was it will be positive. The Star Trek 1966 is about us by 1996 already traveling to the other star systems. Yep. Now, when you look at 70s, 80s, 90s, it shifted to dystopian vision. It's about Terminators, it's about the Matrix. And now sci-fi as genre is almost dead because it's more about fantasy, it's about magic. So people are really afraid talking about the future because we're not sure what's going to happen there. I think that we should simply recognize that AI is not a magic wand, but it's not a Terminator. It's not a harbinger of utopia or dystopia. It's a tool. It's something we should find a way to deal with. I don't want us to debate about AI as the scholastic experts in medieval time talked about religious issues. It's not opening gates of hell, but it's not a paradise. It's not a solution for everything. It's not a salvation. So let's look at the Earth's issues. And my biggest concern today is not about killer robots or some sort of the virtual reality that could totally ruin our sense of reality, but it's about bad actors, it's about terrorists, it's about rogue states that using this technology to harm us. And I always say that people today still humans have monopoly for evil, and that's where we should, I think, concentrate. But I also should recognize that AI could do so many great things for us, because when people say, "Oh, AI, creates new challenges. AI could take away many jobs." Exactly. That's what's happened with jobs in agriculture, jobs in manufacturing. Disruptive technology always destroys industries, but at the same time creates new jobs. And I say that technology is the main reason why so many people still alive to complain about technology, because we just don't recognize the average lifespan grew from, I think, 45, 47, early 20th century to now 75. Thanks to technology, thanks to sort of things that have been connected to technology. And it's always, we want benefits. We want convenience, and we don't look at the price. So people buy Alexa or download a facial recognition app and then complain about their privacy. So it's time for us to understand what we expect from these technologies, so how we want to deal with them, how they can improve our lives, and at the same time recognize that we should not debate about spilled milk. It's going to happen. So we should not ask whether we want it or not. It's happening. And any attempt to protract the agony and to slow down the process, I think is just counterproductive, because jobs that are doomed and will be chopped or will be executed at a chopping block of automation. These jobs cannot be saved. But we have to think about new industries, how we can create some new jobs that will help us to create a financial cushion to take care of those who are left behind.
That's and that was one of the points you make in Deep Thinking, your book, is that the AI presents an opportunity for us to be more human. And that's the thing I think we need to flesh out and make people feel and understand, because I don't think people understand how this can help us be more human.
But it says, you simply look at the statistics. So the McKinsey report of U.S. job market in 2016, it was a clear demonstration. So how little creativity has been used. So it's the working activities that required medium human creativity, 4% of jobs, which means that there was so much room for improvement. We just don't recognize that many of jobs we're doing, they're just they're repetitive jobs, rote jobs. Intellectual jobs can be also repetitive. They can be also easily executed by the machines far more effectively. And here we come to the point that's what we learn from the games, from game of chess, from golf, from any other game. It's just, as long as we have the framework that created by humans, and we know what we're doing, so machines will do better. So we should just recognize that in every closed systems, machine will be superior. By the way, we don't have to understand how they do that. That's another mistake. We want explainability. Come on, it's just that machines could do it in a very awkward way from our standards. So the airplanes flying faster than a bird without flapping their wings. So that's why thinking that machines will outperform us, even in areas of intellect, by doing something we understand, is wrong. We should look for the results, and that's another problem that's for businesses, because there's so many regulations that require them to explain what they're doing, but explainability may not be there if you want to look for efficiency and productivity.
And you brought up the case on stage about Go, and the thing that made the Go AI so much more effective was when it taught itself how to play the game. It didn't have a human-imposed rule.
It's the same as chess now. I think the future of human-machine relations will be very much on humans acting like shepherds, because we will have to find a way to create these closed systems, the areas of narrow intelligence, where machines will do the job much better than any human, and then to see how to connect these areas of narrow intelligence to general field, to open-ended system. Again, it sounds easy, but I think that's a great challenge, because there will be the room for humans in their relations with machines could be shrinking. It's smaller and smaller, even maybe the last few decimal places. But it doesn't matter. It could be even far more effective, because there's so much power, and the channeling it, changing the direction for 0.1% of a degree of this angle. I mean, it could have a massive difference at a target 1 mile away.
So one of the things that worries me about AI is that good AI systems are driven by lots of data and really great algorithms. If you look at who's got most of the data in this space right now, it's big tech, it's state governments, and how do you see the role of the individual in this AI revolution? Because there seems to be some asymmetry of access to these new technologies and different motivations.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. So we have this problem, and I think public recognizes this problem, but it's still not enough pressure on the governments to actually impose very strict rules and punitive measures on the corporations that are violating the privacy. And one of my concerns as chairman of the Human Rights Foundation, that the rules differ from democratic world to unfree world. And I find it very troubling that these multinational giants like the Google, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, they apply very different rules to their customers in America or Europe, and to those who were not so lucky to be born in the free world and live in China, Russia, Turkey, where we're releasing the data from their social activities could be literally a matter of life and death. So I think that's the step number one. But also, we should recognize that it's this. Well, if data is being produced, it will be collected, and I'm sure there are many ways that the governments could do just to limit the use of this data. It's also, but I think it's the ball now is actually public side, because I mean, after the Mark Zuckerberg testimony in the U.S. Senate, which I found that just was an amazing display of ignorance by U.S. legislators. They couldn't ask just good questions for 5 hours. They had him on a hot seat, and it was a waste. I didn't hear public outrage. That is, such big opportunity has been missed, and I think that this is yet for public to demand the legislation, the governments. I mean, to come up with this it's like a strategy. So how are we going to deal with them? I mean, a simple advice: let's split them. I mean, it's not Standard Oil. So this is if you start dividing them. I hate monopolies, but. Yeah, but then you have many Googles with data spread around. So we should find a way of empowering individuals. I don't know about much about blockchain technologies, but probably this is the way of actually helping people to control their own data and their own future, because it's also what we missed. I think is the moment where it's the original concept of internet, social network. Now all of a sudden it's social media. And people just don't recognize it's not a semantic difference. It's a social network.
It's monetized in a totally different
It's about
way.
Connecting people. It's about the whole idea was how to bring us together, how to empower an individual to get access to data and to produce something which could benefit him or her in just being part of this global system. Social media is different. You are the target. So you're a monetary target for big corporations. How we go back to this social network concept? So I don't want to have solutions. I confess my ignorance here about the technical solutions, but I know that this is exactly philosophically that's the right question to be asked. And I think the public is yet doesn't understand the seriousness of this challenge.
You're a Russian citizen.
Also Croatian citizen. So I have an EU passport. That's important. That's how I travel.
Living in the United States. But you've written a lot about propaganda and its effects and its power and how it's being used by the Russian government. Here in the US, we now have a Facebook, Twitter, Google media universe that is almost like a private propaganda machine that can be accessed by governments, by individual companies. And again, I think as somebody who's dealt with and understands these issues, what advice do you have for the United States as we're moving into this system where we can't believe what we see online anymore?
Look, I've been facing the rise of fake news industry and troll factories in Putin's Russia from the beginning of this century. In roughly just around 2004, 2005, Putin's propaganda experts, the KGB guys, they made a faithful decision of not following China by building the walls on the internet, the firewalls, but rather creating the fake internet, but rather creating the websites that could carry a lot of real information, but also be infiltrated by these poisonous pieces. So instead of having the front page of the newspaper, so with just the story that everybody must follow, the party line, you could spread it in many pieces, just in dozens of pieces, and put it in a package wrapped in a lot of true stories. Plus troll factories that was it wasn't quite an elementary just from business perspective, but but laborious task that required a lot of investment when they could actually start faking even debates. It's not simply saying Garry Kasparov was enemy of the state. No, you have somebody saying Garry Kasparov was enemy of the state, but then somebody else coming in saying, no, but he was a great chess player. But probably now he was infiltrated by Western propaganda. Somebody else say, no, he's a good guy. So, and the whole page of the comments could be fake.
The bots are arguing with bots.
Bots, and they were very good in this. So that's why when Putin attacked America, U.S. elections, he already had more than 10 years of experience of these industries working in Russia, in neighboring countries with big Russian communities, in Eastern Europe, in Western Europe, and in my book Winter is Coming, Why Vladimir Putin and Enemies of the Free World Must Be Stopped, that I published in 2015, I said that it would not be it would be just a matter of time. It's not if, but when and where he would attack, because again they already built this machine, and it's relatively cheap. it's still billions of dollars of investment, but compared to open military intervention, confrontation, so it's relatively cheap. And also, it fit Putin's KGB mentality. He has a KGB background, spying background. So instead of open confrontation, he always looked for an opportunity to infiltrate. And that's a classical also judo methods. As you use the strengths of your opponent against him. And for Putin it was brilliant because it's Western technology invented in the free world, and you could use it to undermine the very foundation of the free world.
And is there, so how, do you have any advice for how to get out of this situation? Because it seems like it's happening, it hasn't really stopped.
No, and it will not stop. And look, for anyone who has even limited expertise, the answer is obvious. Defense is a losing proposition. In cybersecurity, you can build your defenses, but at the end of the day, the only answer is deterrence. It's like the Cold War. We like it, we don't like it. It's a cyber Cold War, and we are under constant attacks by Putin or other enemies of the free world. Whether they're states like Iran or North Korea or China or quasi-state organizations that also use the same methods. And only deterrence could stop these attacks or limit them, because they will understand that the consequences of being over-aggressive. Trying to protect our weak spots here and there, it's important that we build some defenses. It's important that we raise the awareness of the public about threats, but it's not going to work. And as for the fake news industries, there are many challenges within our society, within free society, that enabled the fake news industry. It's about a fierce partisanship. It's about the absence of a dialogue between people with different ideological views that help Putin and other enemies of the free world to use the fake news to further engulf this gap.
So you're working with Avast now. It's a company that PC Mag readers are very familiar with. We reviewed pretty much everything the company makes. What steps can you give, what advice do you give to consumers for how to sort of raise their own defense level, at least?
But this is now, as for individual level defense, that's very easy. I mean, the first message is to the owners of smart homes. And I think I'm almost shocked, because even at this South by Southwest, I talked to a lot of people. People with good expertise, they don't understand how vulnerable the smart homes are today. So the latest Avast research showed that it's 1/3 of American household, 39 million, have at least one vulnerable device, which is just it's just people don't understand that one vulnerable device makes the entire smart home vulnerable, because the strength of your defense perimeter depends on the weakest link. One bad apple makes the whole pack rot. So, and we do just at these events, demonstrations how the smart home can be hacked, and one of the biggest challenges, and it's a part of our campaign, is now it's most of the problems created by the manufacturers of traditional home appliances. Like the washing machines, coffee machines, because they have no expertise in building digital systems, but they have to do it now. They're at a very low cost, because it's a price competition, but they want to be part of the system. And most of these systems, they don't have adequate defenses. I think by the way, we need an government oversight. We need to put pressure and just to force them to meet certain standards, but also they have to provide separate manuals, because nobody reads a 100-page manual. And at page 85, you read something about this digital stuff. People don't read it. And most of them, they use default mode, which is, of course, an open invitation for a hacker. So I think it's very important that people will start doing what I call a digital hygiene. Because we wash our hands, we brush our teeth, we do it automatically. It doesn't save us from some serious illnesses, but 90% of the problems can be avoided. Same with our mobile, connected devices. We still should protect ourselves about the viruses, but many things could be done, by just demonstrating that we care about it, because it's as important as our health.
So I want to ask you 3 questions I ask everybody that comes on the show. Is there a technology trend that concerns you and that keeps you up at night?
No, I'm incorrigible optimist. Yeah, again, I worry about bad people, not about bad technology, because every technology has a dual use. You know, you can build a nuclear reactor, but before, unfortunately, you build a nuclear bomb. So it's quite unfortunate that destruction is easier than construction. So that's why it is in history we always know that the new disruptive technology has been tested, for some sort of damage.
Are you not worried that AI is the same thing's going to happen, where it gets used to destroy before it gets used to build?
But again, it's not about killer robots. It's about bad actors behind it. So it's also people who say, oh, we should think about ethical AI. AI cannot be more ethical than its creators. So I don't understand what it means. It's like ethical electricity. If we have bias in our society, AI follows it. It sees a disparity. It's whether it's racial, it's gender, or in income disparity, and it just it takes it into account. For AI, it's just algorithm based on odds. So somehow it's complaining about ethical AI is like complaining about a mirror. We don't like what we see there. By the way, thanks we can see it because AI simply follows the data it collects from our society, demonstrating that we're not as good as we pretend we are.
Is there a technology that you use every day that still inspires wonder?
No, I mean, for me, it's the real wonder of the world is access to information. And since I can collect data, it makes it easier. I grew up in the Soviet Union, and the information was scarce. There were not many books, and now the fact is that I can do a Kindle, I can do this. It's just it makes me feel good. So there's so much technology that surrounds us now and it helps us to get better. What is amazing is that people keep complaining that so what can we do? I mean, there's nothing new that can be invented. And I will say that, wait a second, you look at this device in your pocket. Let's go back. In 1976 or 1977, crazy supercomputer. It was like one of the miracles. This device is 10,000 times more powerful.
Yeah.
I mean,
more powerful than the space shuttle.
Exactly. We have so much power, and I think it's just. What I want us to start dreaming big again, because we have these opportunities now, and I feel so sorry about us human race that we stop space exploration, deep ocean exploration. Let's go back. Let's try to do big things. 4 years ago I did a commencement speech at St. Louis University, Missouri, and addressing the graduate students, I said, look, you have to revive the spirit of exploration, especially St. Louis, the gates to the west. So and trust me, I mean, today it's safer to fly to Mars than for Columbus to cross the Atlantic, because at least we know the distance and we have the map. So I hope that our children, our grandchildren, they will be more aggressive in their dreams by using this phenomenal technology to push us forward. Because I think let's confess, let's admit this unpleasant fact: our generation has been slowing down in our quest for discovering the wonders of the world, or space, or oceans.
Amen to that. So thank you so much for talking to me, Garry. That's Fast Forward for today. If you want to see past episodes of our show, you can go to PCMag.com and find them there. You can also find them on iTunes, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere fine podcasts are given away for free. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the future.